everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and today I want to talk to you about Better Together by Christina Riccio. Okay, so Better Together is Christine's newest release. It just came out this year. I believe it was early summer. I happened to get the copy at Barnes & Noble that is really cool. It's got basically 2 whole covers in the whole book. But Christine actually signed a bunch of the Barnes & Noble copies, and this copy wasn't listed as a signed copy, but it had her signature on it, so it was really cool. Better Together. What is this book about? So I described this book as a mesh between The Parent Trap that my generation knew and watched growing up, and Freaky Friday, which my generation also knew and watched growing up. It's literally a combination of those 2 things. So this is about 2 sisters who are separated early in their lives by their parents, who get divorced and move to different parts of the country. So the mom and the daughter, Siri, who was the younger daughter, they stay in New Jersey / New York because the mom is a ballerina dancer who dances in New York. Meanwhile, the dad moves to Los Angeles, different from Napa in The Parent Trap, but moves to Los Angeles because he is in Hollywood and takes the older daughter, Jamie, with him. Now, because Jamie's older, Jamie remembers everything that goes on and remembers Siri. But Siri doesn't remember Jamie. Both of them have things happening in their lives. They're kind of at a standstill. Siri has an injury which basically thwarts her chances at being a dancer, and her whole life is put on hold. And Jamie is having a kind of quarter-life crisis where she's trying to figure out what to do with her life and trying to be a stand-up comedian, but she's choking on stage. Both of them get told by their parents that they need to go to this newfound camp that is supposed to help bring about the where you're supposed to go with your life. It's like frou-frou and freely. The catch is that neither side knows that the other person is going. They just happen to choose the same camp. So they show up there and just like the twins, they meet, and Siri wants nothing to do with Jamie because Jamie knows all about Siri, but Siri knows nothing about Jamie. And so she's kind of freaked out by this weird boisterous girl who just wants to be around her all the time. Eventually, of course, they find out that they're sisters, but by some magical happenstance, they get Freaky Friday because there's something weird at this camp that causes them to switch bodies. So not only do they decide to do the Parent Trap thing where they switch places, but no one can tell it's the older or younger sister because they don't look like themselves. And so they end up going back to the other place and have this plot, just like The Parent Trap, to bring themselves together and get their parents to kind of meet back up by the end of the story. Because this book is very much based on or inspired by movies / stories that I grew up with, it was a little harder for me to read because I just felt like I knew what was gonna come. I didn't feel like it was totally exciting as I wanted it to be because I just kind of knew the trajectory of the story. I also struggled because I feel like I personally couldn't connect with the personality of either of the 2 characters. And I think that made it a little bit harder for me to read, because usually I can at least find one character, especially in a split perspective book, that I can relate to. And I just didn't really feel like their personalities of either fit with me. Because of that, it took me a little while to read it. I didn't feel as involved. And because of that, coupled with the storylines that I already really knew, I just didn't feel like it was the best book for me. But that being said, I know a lot of people did not grow up watching those movies like I did, and it may be a completely new and fun experience for you. And I definitely recommend reading it. There's a lot, because there's an older age range for these characters. I think it is considered a YA book, but the older sister is older, and so there's a lot of adult themes that kind of go along with her quarter life crisis. And so I definitely think readers should take that into consideration, that even though it's got that Freaky Friday Parent Trap theme, this is not necessarily for really young YA readers. It's not really a tween kind of a book. I would probably say it's on the older end of that age range. And it's got a lot of that quarter life crisis theme to it, so I think that can relate to the older reader as well. If you want a book that will bring back some nostalgia, or if you want to experience it for the first time, definitely pick up Better Together by Christine Riccio. I think it was a fun read, and could be a fun read for people who are looking for that switching places, magical kind of realism type story, and something that just has a little quirk to it, and definitely something that can hit you in the feels if you are maybe going through some quarter life stuff yourself. Thanks for stopping by. If you'd like to chat more, you can find me on Instagram at The Fun Size Reader, on Facebook at The Fun Size Reader, and on Twitter at Fun Size Reader. See you next time.